Good morning. Grab your coffee and lean in, because we need to talk about a ghost story. But it's not the kind with haunted houses. It's the kind that lives on the open ocean, and it's the secret reason your grocery bill just hit a record high. Right now, as we speak, there are 10,000 ghost ships drifting across our oceans. These aren't old wooden wrecks. They're the most advanced, massive Megamax vessels ever built, and they're sitting perfectly still. Here's the deal. The global container fleet capacity just crossed a staggering milestone. 33.2 million TEU. That's up over 27% in just 3 years. To put it simply, the world has more cargo space than at any point in human history. Usually in economics, when you have too much of something, the price goes down, right? More ships should mean cheaper shipping, which should mean cheaper toasters and cheaper milk. But look at your bank statement. That's not what's happening. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Let that sink in. We're living through a massive structural paradox. While the ocean is literally overflowing with empty cargo space, idle capacity has jumped 400%. We have the ships, we have the routes, but your local store shelves are still thin, and the price tags are still climbing. It feels like the math stopped working. And honestly, this is the part where most people get confused. If there's a shipping sale happening on the global stage, why is it getting harder and more expensive to get a simple package delivered to your door? Well, that's where the story takes a dark, algorithmic turn. Here's where it gets strange. The shipping industry isn't just suffering from too many ships, they're weaponizing that oversupply. They've realized that if they let the market work normally, they'd all go bankrupt. So they've come up with a plan to make sure that doesn't happen, and you're the one footing the bill. If the world's largest fleet is sitting idle while your costs are rising, what does that tell you? It tells me we're trapped in a new kind of economic ghost story. So how does this actually work? How do you keep prices high when you have too many ships? The industry has a name for it, blank sailing. It sounds technical, but here's the reality. It's a tactical cancellation. Think of it like a city bus route. You're standing at the stop. The schedule says the bus is coming at 8 a.m., but the bus company looks at the data and realizes only 3 people are waiting. So they just skip the stop. They don't tell you, they just don't show up. Now, imagine that happening to 42% of all ships headed to the US East Coast. That's the world we're living in right now. This is algorithmic scarcity. Back in 2021, shipping companies made a fortune during the pandemic. They had so much cash, they didn't know what to do with it, so they went on a shopping spree. They ordered 9.6 million TEUs worth of new ships. That's a decade's worth of oversupply. But now that demand has normalized, they're staring at a total collapse of freight rates. The Shanghai Containerized Freight Index is down 65% from its peak. To stop the bleeding, these shipping alliances are using sophisticated data to cancel trips just hours before departure. They're effectively creating delivery deserts. It's a brilliant, if frustrating, strategy. By bypassing smaller regional ports and focusing only on massive superhubs, they maximize their efficiency while leaving everyone else in the cold. If you live near a secondary port, your service frequency just dropped by nearly 30% in a single year. You're not just paying for the shipping, you're paying for the fact that the ship might not even show up. This isn't just a logistics problem, it's a gatekeeping problem. Let that land for a second. And here's the part you need to pay attention to. This isn't just about ships being canceled. It's about slow steaming. To absorb all that extra vessel supply, carriers are literally telling their captains to drive slower. It saves fuel, sure, but it also means your goods are spent weeks longer on the water. It's a deliberate deceleration of the global economy. They are slowing down the world to keep their profit margins from hitting zero. Every extra day your product sits on a ship is an extra day of interest, insurance, and storage costs that eventually end up on your credit card bill. I know sounds dramatic, but look at the data. The order book to fleet ratio is over 30%. That means even more ships are coming, and the only way to keep the system from crashing is to keep canceling, keep slowing down, and keep skipping your port. It's a high-stakes game of chicken between the world's biggest carriers, and the invisible shipping tax is the only thing keeping them afloat. But while the carriers are playing defense, a new breed of investor is quietly making a fortune from this logistical chaos. Let's talk about the winners. Since global shipping has become a total gamble, companies can't rely on the old way of doing things. For 30 years, the mantra was just in time. You order it, it arrives from overseas exactly when you need it. No storage, no waste. But when 42% of your ships are getting canceled, just-in-time becomes never on time. So the biggest retailers in the world are switching to a new strategy, just in case. This is a massive shift. The US retail inventory to sales ratio has climbed to 1.48. That sounds like a boring number, but it represents billions of dollars in capital that is now locked up in local warehouses. Instead of keeping products on ships, companies are hoarding them in your backyard. And that brings us to the hidden beneficiaries, AI-driven micro-fulfillment startups. Companies like Fabric and Adibotics are exploding right now. They aren't trying to fix the ships. They're turning old grocery stores and basements into automated mini warehouses. Think about that next time you see an old department store being renovated. It's likely becoming a micro-fulfillment hub. These firms are thriving because they provide the Plan B that's becoming the new Plan A. They're the ones helping retailers bypass the shipping trap by moving inventory hyper-locally. But here's the catch. Local storage is expensive. Real estate, electricity, and AI-driven robotics aren't cheap. When a retailer has to store 1,000 toasters in a high-rent district, instead of on a cheap ship, who do you think pays for that extra rent? You do. This is the local hoarding economy. We are trading the efficiency of global movement for the security of local stagnation. The micro-fulfillment market is projected to grow at 25% annually, which is wild. It's a gold rush for anyone who can help a company survive a world where the ocean is unreliable. But for the rest of us, it means a permanent price premium. We're paying for the insurance of having goods nearby because we can no longer trust the 10,000 ghost ships to deliver them. It's a fundamental rewiring of how wealth moves around the planet. Now, I want you to zoom out for a second. Is this algorithmic scarcity a brilliant modern invention? Or are we just watching a high-tech replay of a 50-year-old disaster? To find the answer, we have to look back at the last time the ocean was this full of empty metal. And let me tell you, the similarities are honestly a bit haunting. Let's go back to 1973. If you were looking at the Norwegian fjords back then, you wouldn't see water, you'd see steel. They were filled with idle supertankers for years. This was the layup era. The 1973 supertanker crisis was triggered by a sudden spike in fuel costs and a collapse in oil demand. Back then, the solution was brutal. Ships were scrapped for pennies on the dollar or turned into floating storage units. Experts say our current situation is about an 88% match to that era. The difference today, it's not just a fuel shortage, it's a data-driven choice. In the 70s, they were flying blind. Today, shipping CEOs like Vincent Clerc at Maersk are playing a much more sophisticated game. He's pushing for a green renewal. The argument is that we need all these new ships because the old ones are too polluting. With the new IMO carbon tax levy adding $25 billion in annual costs to the industry, they're claiming that slow steaming and new methanol-ready ships will naturally absorb the oversupply. It's a clean way to keep prices high. They're calling it decarbonization. Others call it a convenient excuse for artificial scarcity. But not everyone is buying the green renewal story. On the other side of the table, you have analysts like Alan Murphy at Sea Intelligence. He's warning that the industry is playing a dangerous game of chicken. If even one major carrier breaks rank, if one company decides to stop blank sailing and starts filling their empty ships at any price just to gain market share, the entire industry enters a terminal freefall. Freight rates would collapse, and we'd see a wave of bankruptcies that would make the 2008 shipping crisis look like a walk in the park. So we have two futures. One where the invisible shipping tax becomes a permanent part of our lives to fund a green transition, and another where the whole system collapses under its own weight. Either way, the era of cheap and fast is over. The ships might be cleaner in 10 years, but they'll be fewer, slower, and more expensive. Whether the industry survives or collapses, the final bill is already being printed, and it's headed straight for your wallet. So, what's the bottom line for you and your money? We are entering the age of the invisible shipping tax. This isn't a one-time market crash. It's a slow, steady drip of inefficiency that will erode your personal savings. Every time you buy something that was once on a ship, you are paying a surcharge for a vessel that was canceled, a captain who was told to slow down, and a warehouse that had to hoard the goods just in case the ocean failed again. Expect a permanent price premium if you live in a secondary hub. If you're not in a major global gateway city, your cost of living just went up because you're now in a delivery desert. The convenience we took for granted in the 2010s was a historical anomaly fueled by cheap fuel and a lack of data. Now the algorithms have caught up. They've learned how to manage scarcity better than they ever managed abundance. Think about that next time you see your grocery bill or a delayed delivery notification. It's not just a supply chain glitch. It's a feature of a new economic reality where the ocean is fuller than ever, but the distance between the products we need and the prices we can afford has never been wider. The ships may be empty, but the cost of that emptiness is something we will all have to carry. I'll leave you with this. If the world's most efficient transport system is choosing to be inefficient to survive, what does that say about the health of the global economy? See you tomorrow.